Welcome, friends. Welcome to today's Reconsider It live stream. The best live stream you're gonna see all day. And here on this live stream, you are going to get a very exciting hour of building up a beat and learning about these 505 loopers, these Boss RC 505 loopers that I'm using. Going to be talking about some technical details. Press this button to make it sound like this. It's going to be really good. Right now we are in a warm-up phase, just getting the blood flowing. We are chilling out to this beat, this foundation of a beat that I made before the stream began. Why did you make that foundation of a beat before the stream began, Recon? Well, here's why. It's so that we'd have something to do while we're letting the blood flow. And here in this warm-up phase, my friends, I need to celebrate. I need to celebrate Thank you for being here. However it is that you are joining us. If you are joining us live in the chat, as I see Warheart, that's good. Welcome, Warheart. Also, if you are indeed live in the chat, or you are joining us live but you are not in the chat, or you are joining us after the stream watching on replay, however it is that you are joining us, thank you for being here. I'm going to celebrate you at this time in this way. I have got my drink. It is very, very exciting and wonderful. I'm going to count to 3. I'm going to click the screen. It is going to be a very wonderful experience. At that time, you are invited to join the rest of us as we celebrate our togetherfulness. Oh man, it all begins on 1. Oh, that's really good. That's really amazing. 2. Oh my goodness, the build-up is amazing this time. It's really... 3. Clink. Cheers, my friends. Oh man, that is good. That is good. That's good. Please like this video. Please subscribe. Oh man, this is the good stuff. This is the stuff you want more of. This is the stuff you look forward to the next experience with. This world needs a hero. This world does need a hero. That's why there's been this, you know, how long has there been comic book movies that are popular? They've lowered in popularity in the past however many years. But it's been 10 to 15 years that has been a primary, cultural impressing influence. Thinking about heroes, bad guys, heroes, bad guys, heroes, bad guys. For how many years? I do think this world needs a hero. The world needs a legion of heroes. So being that this is a 505 beat making stream, I'm not going to continue on these philosophical tangents about the nature of heroes and villains. But I'll reserve that for a Tinkering in the Studio stream, where we go off on tangents like that for an hour or two while playing the music. The 505 Beatmaking stream you're on right now. This is all about what did I do with the loopers to make it sound like this. So let's get in some technical details. This is really cool if you are thinking about getting one of these loopers and you are considering like, how do they work? Would I be able to handle this? The answer is yes, you would be able to handle it. So that's one bit of confidence I mean to impart upon you. But there are a lot of buttons, so I'm going to be showing you how I built this foundation of a beat, and then I'm going to keep building the beat and telling you what I'm doing while I'm doing it. For everyone who's here live in the chat, if there are things you want to see in particular, let me know in the chat. And if you're watching this after the stream, let me know in the comments, and I might do it in a future stream, or maybe answer your question if I can via text. Via text in a reply to your YouTube comment. Symptoms of Reality is referring to yesterday. Symptoms of Reality does their weekly popcorn night on Fridays, where people in our community of YouTube musicians, hardware musicians, but not exclusively. There's also DAW-based submissions. People submit their songs, and we listen to, like, I don't know, how many are there, 10 to 20 or something a week? It can vary. And so I submitted my recent release, my rap song, which you should check out. It's already released on my page. It's called, what is it called? Yes. The name of it is Role-Playing Catharsis. Go check it out. It is an expression of which you might expect to see more. It is an expression as I process some difficult things, some very difficult things that continue to affect me. And this is a rap, and I'm talking about some of it. Anyway, it's been very well received. I like it. I've been listening to it a lot on loop, which is what I do with my lyrics. I program myself. It's helping me. I'm writing some more, so you can expect more raps that are may or may not appear to be related, but are helping me in whatever way. Anyway, I'm responding to what Symptoms of Reality said in the chat. Symptoms of Reality says, great submission last night. I submitted that song, Role-Playing Catharsis. My song, my rap song. Check it out. Check out Role-Playing Catharsis. And Symptoms of Reality says mine was picked for rewind. Dope. Dope. So it was well received. Well received at Popcorn Night. I've been getting a lot of positive feedback. I released it just a couple, what is it? I guess 5 days ago. This past Monday. Once again, friends. We need to get into the 505 details. All right, I'm going to be focused. Bringing the focus in. This is not a tinkering stream. All right, here we go. So for the 505, as I say, we're going to go into technical details here, and I will still respond to the chat and such. But how do I make these sounds? Because when I do this like beatboxing and I make these bass lines and whatever I'm doing here, it's not like I'm doing some awesome thing a cappella. You know, here's, if I beatbox, what did I do in this one? It was like a... That's what I sound like a cappella. I don't sound like this percussion. So it's the looper that's making it sound different. In this case, what did I do? Let me see. All right, in this case, this kick here that you're hearing. That. That's made out of, so again, technical details on the 505s. If you're looking to like see if you can do what I'm doing as a starting point and it helps you to learn how to use the looper, that's what this stream is really about. In this case, on the bottom looper, which is my Mark I, I use it for my percussion. I did an EQ with the EQ, again for the kick only. The EQ has a little bit of the low end turned up and a little bit of the high end turned down. And then it's passed into a lo-fi. And that's what gives it this like limited sound. That's it. And all I'm doing is I do cup my hand over like this, just to capture whatever's coming out of my nose. You like lightly, gently hold kind of the bridge of your nose, and that's about it. And the rest of it's just covered to capture whatever sound. That's all I'm doing. But by passing it into the EQ and the lo-fi, it sounds like this. Nice. I use that same EQ, but then I passed it into a reverb, because you could stack input effects like this. And I use that to build this hi-hat sounding thing. Also this clap snare thing. It's just that same EQ matching the kick, so they kind of fit together a little bit in a way. But these sounds here are also passed into a reverb, not passed into the lo-fi. You can hear they sound like more, they're more obviously me just going nothing special a cappella. They're just an EQ passed into a reverb. They mostly sound a cappella. Whereas the kick has more of the, you know, grainy, limited sound. You may have also heard that it had some, I have a delay that I was putting on the drums on and off a little bit. I like to use the delay on percussion. I like to use the delay usually on these other hi-hat snare layers rather than on the kick. Not always, but usually you'll see me turn down the kick when I put a delay on the percussion. Or I'll turn it off, because you can enable or disable individual layers for whether you want the output effects, to apply to them. There's only one set of output effects for the whole looper, and it's like each individual layer either opts in or out. By default, they're all opted in, but you could turn them off, as I did here. So now you can, there's a lot of delay here on these, the snare or clap and the hi-hat layer, shaker layer. But the kick doesn't have it at all. The pick is clean. So sometimes you'll see me do that too. Now in this case, I didn't test something I usually like to test. Alright. That's one of my favorite effects, but it's really sensitive to how long the loop is. It looks like it doesn't really work on this one. I'm always catching the end of it there. Let's see. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Anyway, that's the percussion. You now have learned everything about how I built this percussion section, the kick, and these different effects, the snares and the hi-hat shaker. I should just call it a shaker. What about this bass? And my regulars know that my basses are often built very, very, very similarly. And I'm still not totally satisfied with them. I think there's still a lot of room to I don't know, improve or even revolutionize how I do my basses. But they're adequate for now, and I'm going to give you them as a starting point, and you'll do something way cooler than I do with them. I am going to get caught up on the chat a little at this time before I talk about the bass. Despite the fact that is here. Moser being the bass man himself. Moser is very comfortable with receiving compliments regarding his bass skills, which are very firm. I see George is also making a reference to the track that I submitted for Popcorn Night. George says, "Oh, that sword track you submitted was ridiculous." Glad you like it, man. Yeah, people are responding very positively to it. There's a lot of, I don't know, would you say vulnerability? Is that what you're responding to? Panda was saying something the other day. Panda's another musician if you don't know him. Panda was saying something about like when the lyrics are personal and they come from like actual experiences, that they're much more powerful. They're much more, I forget how he described it. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he made a comment about that. And that's generally how I write my lyrics. They always come from some kind of personal experience in one capacity or another, some direct experience of mine, including things that are difficult, like with what I'm going through right now. Processing difficult things. My lyrics help with that a lot. My lyrics for me like often represent kind of a couple of streams ago we were talking about, you know, it's the path of like being in a place where you have something to say but it doesn't get heard, and that is a path of an artist. Not necessarily the only path, but being in a place where what you do is not valued or recognized, and like how do you manage that? That was a topic we were talking about the other day. I really go off on a tangent here. I mentioned that I wanted to keep it focused on the 505 beat making, but yeah, my new song, as I mentioned earlier, Role-Playing Catharsis, which is up on my YouTube page already. If you haven't already watched it 700 times, go watch it 700 times. Oh, right. I forgot to mention, Warheart is reminding me. For my musician friends who want to jam along, this one is tuned to the key of D major. They're always major when I'm using these loopers. The key of D. Beats per minute is 146.4. So the bass, let me get back to it. I really need to keep it a little more focused on the 505 for replay purposes. I'm trying to respect my friends who are joining us after the stream, watching on replay. If you searched for like how do I use a 505, and I'm sitting here talking about like my rap song about processing difficult things that I'm going through in my life, you'd be like, where do I find that button on the looper? I'd be like, first of all, don't press that button. Oh boy. Don't press that button. Don't get into a position like what I'm in. But if you do, my lyrics will help get you out. So the bass line. In respect to our friends who are joining us specifically for the purpose of like seeing what buttons to press. For the bass line. How did I make this sound like a bass line? Because this is just me going like doo 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 doo, like literally. I'm not doing some cool acapella bass, you know. I'm not one of these like mad global famous modern beatboxers who do this like amazing stuff a cappella. That's not me. It's the looper making it sound like this. So how did I do this? Well, on the top looper, this one allows you to do melodic stuff and tune it to a key, like D major, like this one is. So you can build up to 4 instruments. I have a bass line. I have this thing, whatever we call this. We'll talk about this one next. I have that's 2 instruments, and I have 2 more I haven't used yet on this stream. So how do we build the bass here? Here it is. You can stack 4 input effects on the Mark II looper. You can stack 4 input effects. My bass line is built out of the following. Guitar to bass. Guitar to bass is what it sounds like. If you were to literally plug in a guitar and play it and pass it through a guitar to bass filter, then it would sound like you're playing a bass. That's all. So I'm sitting there going doot, 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 and it's making it sound like this. Drops my octaves and all that. So that's the first thing. That's the core flavor of it, the core voice of it. This guitar to bass. That's passed into the electric, which is a tuner. That's what makes it the D major. It's like a snap tuner. I think that's what we decided the other day. Maybe a couple weeks ago that was. It's a snap tuner. It snaps it to a key. Whatever you're doing. I'm like a little off key. Little off key. I'm totally off key. But the electric will snap it into whatever key I tune it to. Guitar to bass, electric, tremolo. If you listen to the bass, there's not a lot of tremolo. I turned it down mostly. Yeah, it's mostly turned down. Guitar to bass, electric, tremolo, and then passed into a sustainer. Sustainer is a loudness. So it makes it's not just volume, but it's loudness. I don't have the, what do you say, like music production vocabulary to describe exactly what I mean by that. But that's what sustainer is. And if you're pressing the buttons and playing around with sustainer, you'll see what I mean. that it's more than just volume. There's a loudness to it. It's useful for turning loudness down, but it's also useful sometimes if your input is too, you know, let's say quiet by default. So that's the bass. Guitar to bass, electric, tremolo, sustainer. What else? There's also this one. This instrument here. I see right now that patch foot is here. And also trust my monkey. Warheart says, is the sustainer a compression? I mean, it might be. It doesn't seem like that's what it is to me, but maybe it is. I'm not, as I say, I'm not terribly knowledgeable about music production or just audio production details. I kind of just play around with knobs and stuff. I mean, maybe. The settings in a sustainer say attack and release, and that's it. And then there's like some simple EQ. There's like a high and low level. So it's only attack and release. That's not a lot of settings to call it a compressor. But you could be right, because I'm actually not sure. So that's, anyway, that's the bass. Anyway, so we're going on to this one here that you're hearing now in the background. My regulars know that this is one of the 2 layers. I generally pair this. I use the same instrument twice in 2 layers so that I have some kind of like complementary structure, whether it's just harmonizing with itself or whether it's, you know, rhythmically complementing itself. If you're wearing headphones, which this is always the best way to listen to my looper content, is with these kind of noise canceling headphones on. If you're listening on headphones, you may notice these are panned slightly to the left and right. This one's to the left. This one that's positioned to the left of center is panned left of center. Whereas over here, this one is positioned to the right and is panned to the right. These other ones that are further out, they're panned further to the right and left. And the bass is center, and it's in the center position. So that's just one little, I was going to say quirk, but I don't know. It's not exactly a quirk. I know why I do it. A quirk is something that you do and you do and you don't know why you do it. And you have like really, you have reasons that are like very obvious post-rationalizations. Which again, I'm going to rein that stuff in. That's good to go into in a tinkering stream, but we are in a 505 beat making stream. And here in this 505 beat making stream, how did I make this instrument here? This one here. So this one, you can hear there's kind of a big difference between the 2 iterations of this. This one here is me just going like, ooh, or something like that. Whereas this one, that's me doing like a doo-doo-doo, ooh, ooh. That's all I'm doing. Acapella. But the looper, you know, twists it around and make it sound like this. So I did 2 different inputs on the same instrument, quote unquote, my virtual instrument that I've built. So what is that virtual instrument that I built in case you are wanting to try something similar on your 505, or you're, you know, not just somebody learning, but somebody who's an existing 505 user, and you are just curious to see how a different artist uses it, because it's very different. Every 505 artist seems to use it in a different strategic way. So it's interesting when people do these kinds of tutorials to see like, oh wow, never thought of that. That's a good idea. Speaking of which, I should probably go and look up some more tutorials, because I do have a playlist of some. Anyway, we've got this instrument here. This one sounds a bit like a horn. This is the synth. That's the first. If I go back to how did I construct this instrument, the first of the input effects that I used is called a synth. And that's what gives it this flavor that's sort of like a horn. I don't know, not a trumpet. I don't know how to describe this exactly. And not like a clarinet exactly, but I don't know, an oboe, not a saxophone, whatever. Something vaguely in the category of brass. This is built out of the synth, is what it's called. The first instrument here. Or the first input effect, rather. So I take the synth, I pass it into the electric. That's once again the snap tuner. Then I pass it into a reverse delay. And you can hear that in here. When they stop, it's very obvious. You hear that delay in there when they cut out? That's a reverse delay. I love anything reverse. And the top looper, the Mark II, has a lot of cool, variations. It doesn't just have a delay. I mean, it does have a simple delay, but it's got other kinds of delay. It's got like a granular delay and a gate reverb that functions sort of like that, question mark. I might be remembering that wrong. But it's also got this reverse delay, which is really fly. Anyway, then all of that is passed into an auto harmonizer that is, in this case, configured to give you a harmony lower. It's a setting that is what it sounds like. It'll like create a duplicate, slightly shifted layer and layer of sound, that is. And you can either have it harmonize unison, or you can go one high or lower, and I think you can do beyond that as well. What else does it let you do? Even lower than that, a full octave down. Okay. I don't know exactly what low means. I don't know, 3, 4, 5 steps down maybe? Or maybe that's what lower is. I don't know. But this has it. And if you listen carefully, it's not terribly loud, but it's in there. There's like a secondary lower layer. Yeah. So that's it. That's how I built that horn kind of layer here. Synth, electric, reverse delay. Oh, it's a reverse delay. Okay. Auto harmonizer. You may have noticed also that I had some additional reverb on it. Right now I've got a lot of additional reverb on it. You can hear that at the end. It also feels a little fuller now. Whereas if I take that down, you can hear it kind of goes away. There's still a delay and echo, but not the reverb. So that's an output effect I'm using as well. You may or may not have noticed that before. And at this point, you are fully caught up on how I built this what would you say, foundation of a beat. One other thing about the synth, if you do this, it lends itself very naturally to a lo-fi filter, or a low-end filter rather. Oh man, that's so good. Low pass filter, sorry. Oh man, that's just so perfect. Listen to that. That's so dope. These synth-based instruments. It's these. It's a little irritating. So it usually requires something counterbalancing it, like the bass or other things that I'm going to be adding in right now. I'll often make this lower in volume. In fact, I should do that right now. but they do lend themselves naturally to this low pass filter using. Oh, that's so nice. So we'll see. All right. So now the time has come to add some more. We only used 2 of the instruments so far. We used this one here, this instrument that I used very differently with my voice. And I have my 2 different complementary layers flanking the bass. But now we got 2 more. 2 more instruments and 2 more layers. So let's go on. Do this one next. For this one, I'm going to describe how this instrument's built. You've not yet heard it on this stream. I've used it on other streams, so if you're using AI to cross-reference all of my streams, and say find another one where I use the same palette of instruments, then you might already know what this one's going to sound like. Or it might be different now from the last time you heard it anyway. Here's how this one's built, this new instrument that you've not yet heard on this stream. It's built out of a distortion, which I usually use for either a lead layer or a like a strong, I guess the way I usually build my beats is like this. I have the bass line in the middle, as you heard earlier. These 2 layers that are flanking the bass, and I can turn on and off independently. But then I also have 2 more layers. Generally the one all the way to the right over here, I use that arbitrarily. I use that as one that's either the same length as the bass or twice as long as the bass. And I let this one be the real like solo layer that is enabled infrequently and goes off of the pattern established by the other layers and all that. But I also have this other one all the way on the left. This one is generally exactly as long as the bass, and it's I never know how to describe how I use it. But it's sort of like a little more prominent supporting layer, mostly still following the bass, and these other 2 that purely follow the bass. Follow the drums and everything. So that's what I'm going to build right now. This one all the way on the left. And it's built out of a distortion. So this is going to be a little more prominent of a lead. Not lead. A little bit more prominent of a supporting layer. That's going to match all these other ones going on here. Distortion, and what kind of distortion? Vocal. Let's see what that sounds like. Passed into electric, the snap tuner. Passed into a reverse delay. That's going to be interesting. And then all that passed into an EQ. Looks like nothing special going on in the EQ really. So that's probably just a volume boost. If I want just a volume boost, I use the EQ. Warhart continues that the sustainer indeed must be a compressor. I'm open to hearing that. So that's it. That's what this next instrument is going to be built out of. A distortion of the type vocal. There's multiple types. This is the vocal type. passed into an electric, passed into a reverse delay, passed into an EQ. I'm going to go off the vocal mic. I'm going to start playing around with this new instrument. I'll record a loop, and then I'll come back and talk more about it. All right. Right now, Moser says, this sounds dope AF. That's nice. Thank you. So how'd this one get built? Once again, this is just me like, that's it. That's what I'm doing a cappella. Not even with this reverb. That's what I'm doing a cappella. But the looper makes it sound like this. So how did I do it? Whoops, sorry. How did I do it? Or how does the looper do it? How did I build this instrument out of some input effects in the looper? Here's what I did. Distortion, vocal type. That's what gives it its core, you know, almost like a electric guitar sound. Passed into electric, the snap tuner. Passed into a reverse delay. You can hear that most clearly at the end there. Reverse delay. And then all that passed into an EQ, which, as I said earlier, does not seem to have... Oh, I guess it turns down the high a fair amount. The high end is turned down a fair amount. The low end is turned down a small amount. But nothing beyond that. Nothing special customized beyond that. So that's it. That's how I built this other instrument here. Pretty fun. I liked exploring the minimal percussion and a lot of this low pass filter Jones, which was nice. I see right now that Bunker 156 has joined us. So good. That is a good thing. And as I say, we're having a good time at this time. I feel there's some goodness in this beat. And there's still one more instrument to use beyond all these. This is everything all together. And I guess if I take off the low pass filter, remember that's what these originally sounded like. Actually, you may have noticed I put a slicer on there as well. But this is those horn layers, and then I put the low pass filter. It's like, oh man, that's dope. So I kept the low pass filter on, and I've been using it kind of exclusively with that. I also put a slicer on it. This is, what is that? It looks like almost 3/4 of the way up, but it's actually not because it doesn't stop at it doesn't go like 360 degrees. This is a little more than 75%. This is probably closer to like 90% up actually. 85, 90% up, I'm not sure. In any case, slicer's pretty heavily on there. That's a nice additional feature as well. When I say that the Mark I looper going up to the Mark II looper has like 5 upgrades worth of features, it's not just one upgrade. Like they really did so much going up to the Mark II. One of the cool things you can do on the Mark II, but you cannot do on the original looper, the bottom one, the Mark I, is that there's all these output effects. You can put 4 output effects at a time. You can only do 3 on the Mark I. Okay, cool. But additionally, you can go back and forth between which ones are actively being controlled by the dial. You can't do that on the Mark I. On the Mark I, you can stack 3 output effects, but you only can do them in one sequence and then you're done. So it's like, I'm going to apply the first output effect, a reverb. I'm going to put a reverb, and I'm going to put a slicer, and I'm going to put a low-pass filter, which is exactly what I have up here. So I could do something on the original looper, like I could say, all right, let me put my reverb on. Good, there's a lot of reverb. Nice. And now I'm going to put on the slicer. Okay, I got the slicer going. There it is. It's nice. Okay, good. Now I'm going to put the low-pass filter. Yeah, now I can do this. Nice. But now, if I wanted to change how much reverb there is in it, on the lower looper, I can't do that because I've already done my stack of effects. But on the top looper, I can. I can go back to the reverb, and I could say, oh, let me take the reverb out. Or I could take the reverb off entirely. And I could say, the slicer's good. Let me go back to the low-pass filter. So there's this dynamic ability to go back and forth between which output effects are being applied, which is awesome. That was so missing before. So it's great that they enabled that in the new looper. We got one more instrument to add to this beat with. And this one here is built out of one of my favorite things. So we'll see how it sounds today. Just because it's one of my favorite instruments doesn't mean that, or one of my favorite ways to build an instrument, doesn't mean that it doesn't necessarily translate to how it will integrate with this particular beat I've built. So we'll see how it integrates. But this one is built as follows. This one that I have not used yet on this stream. It's built out of a synth, which is once again the like horn brass kind of vibe. Synth passed into electric, which is the snap tuner. Passed into a lo-fi, which will give it a lo-fi sound, kind of like a capped, muted almost sound. Passed into a roll, more specifically roll 1, if you're looking this up on your 505. The Mark II, it only exists in the Mark II, all these things. The combination of all of them can only be done in the Mark II. Some of them exist on the Mark I. The synth and the lo-fi and the roll exist on the Mark I. But on the Mark I, it's just called a roll, not roll 1. There's 2 different types of rolls in the Mark II. This one I'm about to use roll 1. Synth, electric, lo-fi, roll 1. I'm going to go off of the speaking mic, and I'm going to start using this instrument, play around with it. I'll record a loop with it. I'll come back and talk. It's going to be really good. may have noticed I was doing, again, 505 details, is I'm pressing this green button here, and I do something like, okay, I press up here my exit button, which is like just a clear memory. It helps prevent the looper from having an overload, which can happen in some extreme cases. If you stack this and that and this and stack, and then you press this and you go over to that, and there can be a lot. You can get an overload. So I'm in the habit of just pressing exit a couple of times to make sure I've cleared all the looper's memory and it's not actively juggling multiple tasks. Anyway, so you see me doing that. I go exit, but then I press one of these green buttons here. It's the second one down when they're illuminated. You see, it's not all this top one isn't illuminated and everything. That means the output effects aren't applying. So I can have like this other layer going and the bass going, and the low pass filter output effect doesn't apply to them. Anyway, I press the second one down, one that's enabled for all of them. That enables me to do some simple settings like the panning and the volume level. And then I adjust this button here, this top button. This button to the right in this top section. And I play around with that knob, and then I go back and I press a different one of them and I play with that knob. That's me adjusting the volume levels. So this new one that I just recorded here, I'm trying to balance it in with the rest. What kind of role does it really play in the beat? How loud should it be? All of that. So this one again is the latest one that I built. This is twice as long as the bass and everything else. Not everything is the same length. I shouldn't say everything else. It's twice as long as the bass and this other one that I don't have a good name for. It's 4 times as long as these two that flank the bass, and 4 times as long also as the clap. And then it's 8 times as long as the kick and the shaker. So it's built out of a synth, passed into the electric, passed into the lo-fi. The synth is what gives it its sort of like brazenness. The electric tunes it. The lo-fi kind of collapses it a bit, mutes it a little bit. And then the roll is what gives it that like repeatedness, choppy repetition. I see right now that Dragon Sail is with us, which is really good. So I guess that's it. You've now heard this entire beat. How I've built every part of this beat. Successful 505 beat making stream in that regard. I perhaps went off on a bit too many tangents, I felt earlier. Although I'm having fun. I always have. I guess maybe let me ask your feedback on that. I shouldn't just decide. I'm asking your feedback if you're here in the live in the chat, and I'm also asking your feedback in a comment if you're joining us after the stream. But what do you think of how I ran the stream today? In the sense that this stream claims to be based on what I say, like, all right, this is a 505 beat making stream. This is for talking about the loopers. Is it good when I go off on a couple of minutes and I talk about some other unrelated thing, like my new rap song, and I'm dealing with stuff in my personal life? Or other things we start, let's talk about whatever other tangent or two that we went off on today. Keep that stuff, allow myself to go off on little tangents like that and then come back to the 505 details? Or do you prefer it to be the other way that I was kind of trying to force it to be earlier on this stream? Which is like, nope, we're going to keep it strict. This is a, tutorial on how to use the loopers, and I'm going to make good use of your time so that... Do you prefer that? I genuinely am not aware of what is more helpful for you. And I would rather hear what you prefer, knowing that from many different people, there will be all opinions represented. I understand that. But generally speaking, what is your input on... keep it strict, just on the 505 beat. If we're talking about a tinkering stream, I'm going to go off on those tangents. So there's no worries about that. There's a place for it. My question is just, do you also want the 3, 4, 5 minutes of unrelated topic while we focus on doing 505 details? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments if you're joining us after the stream. George says, I have no problem with that. All of this sounded good and looked good. That's one opinion. George has weighed in. We did it. I'm getting some feedback. George is already influencing my future direction. For example, and by the way, here's a little tangent that I'm going to give you. Do you want me to give you this tangent, or do you want me to just stick to the 505 details? But what George has just done is influence me and also influence future streams. Imagine if I get no other feedback from anyone on this question. If no one else chimes in and says whether, yes, keep the tangents where you talk about, like what I'm going to tell you right now is a persuasion and communication tip. That's what I'm going to give you right now. Would you like me to give you this unrelated persuasion and communication tip, or should I be sticking to the 505s? George has weighed in on the topic. That's one person who says, hey, I don't mind. Go ahead and do it. Everything was looking good and sounded good. Now imagine nobody else ever says anything to me on this topic. The way that I build my future approach will be influenced exclusively by George. He just got 100% influence. Well, I should say of the amount of influence that it's possible for others to have. You imagine there's a pie chart of influence. A very large portion is my own just unilateral decision making. But there's a portion of it that is influenced by other people. That slice that is influenced by other people, George just got all of it. Absolutely all of it. So I'd be like, well, what do people want? I guess it must be what George wants. So the persuasion or communication tip that I'm giving you right now is, when you have the opportunity to express your view toward something that has a consequence for your future, some kind of tangible outcome that you experience, when you have the opportunity to voice your desire of what that future outcome should be, you should always voice that, regardless of whether you feel you're being influential. You are being influential. You might say, oh, what's the point? No, you're weighing in. And regardless of whether you personally feel that you're having an impact, you are having some non-zero impact. It might be less of an impact than you want. You're like, why didn't I get everything I wanted immediately in full throttle, like full-blown, full manifestation? It didn't happen immediately in 0 seconds. Maybe you didn't get immediately what you wanted in full degree. But you are having an influence. And if no one has ever told you before, what you are living in right now, this universe you're living in, this is not a created universe. This is a creating universe. And you're in it. You are part of this creating universe. Whether you like it or not, you're in it. Hi, welcome. If nobody's ever told you this before. You are constantly having an influence on everything. Every passing moment, every passing second, every passing fraction of a second, you're having an influence, whether you know what the influence is or not. You might not be aware of the influence you're having, but you are having an influence on the way that the future unfolds. This is a creating universe that you're part of, that you're inextricably woven into like a quilt. And you're constantly creating, you're influencing your environment. So whereas George has gotten a very significant, he has gotten unilateral influence over the area where other people can influence me, you too are constantly influencing your environment. And so my communication, persuasion, influence for you is to look at things this way and to take some power and confidence in knowing that you are influencing your environment. And so your task is simply to learn how to wield the influence you're having. And once again, my question for you, is it good for me to go over, should I be talking about this like philosophical, influence-based, let's talk about the cosmology of the nature of the universe. Should I be talking about that on a 505 beatmaking stream? Or should I be reserving that for the Tinker in the Studio streams? That's my open question to you at any time. You might be watching this, a year from now. It might be 2026 when you're watching this. Still give me your opinion. Good to go off on these tangents? Or keep it to the loopers? Bro, I tuned in for a 505 beatmaking stream. Supposedly that's the stream where you just talk about the looper stuff. Why are you talking to me about how the universe is a creating universe and I'm constantly influencing my environment, and even if I don't know what the nature of the influence is that I'm having on my environment? I don't want to be thinking about that. It's a lot to deal with. That's a lot to manage. I have to just pay my rent. I have to pay my mortgage. It's I'm constantly influencing my environment. You mean as I walk downstairs to get myself some cereal to eat, I'm constantly, every second, every time I put my foot down on the floor, I'm creating this ripple of influence that does all sorts of things in my, are you telling me? Yes, that's what I'm telling you. It's like, I'm just trying to make ends meet, man. If that's how you feel for the 505 beatmaking streams, please give me your feedback. I am inviting your feedback. The 505 beatmaking streams are meant to be in response to what you find useful. A lot of people have asked me to do these. They say, talk about what you're doing on these loopers. I want to see what it is. I'm turning the volume up and down with these volume sliders. That's why you hear them come in and out. I'm messing with that low pass filter up here in the top right, this dial. I got the delay down here in the shaker layer and the percussion. Right now I see that Mango is with us. All right, I'm getting some more votes in the chat right now regarding whether I should go off on these tangents. Warheart weighs in and says, I like the stories. You're good at circling back, so tangent talk is great. All right, so now of the space where other people can influence my decision, we have 2 votes. George says, everything's sounding good. I have no problem with it, which is kind of like a warm, a little more than neutral, but not super enthusiastic. I could take it or leave it kind of opinion, which is good. I'm asking for that. What is your opinion on it? But Warheart's a little more enthusiastic and says, no, man, I straight up like it. So it's great. I see Warheart is even feeding into the comment about entropy and thermodynamics. Yeah, we got to talk more about extropy with an X, extropy, which, entropy governs closed systems of physical matter. That's what's governed by entropy, but not everything is governed by entropy. Extropy is what governs things that to us appear to be non-physical. Things like information or experiences or memories or collective wisdom and knowledge. You may notice, for example, that overall the human race trends toward more organized, more civilized. That's an overall trend. Not individual cultures or individual nations. I'm not talking about that. Those have life cycles. A given culture has a life cycle. A given nation has a life cycle. A given organization or corporation in the business world has a life cycle. But I mean just all of humanity all together. It trends toward more organized, more aware, more knowledgeable. That's extropy. That things like information and knowledge tend to persist and get more organized, which is the opposite of entropy. Entropy being what governs physical systems, closed physical systems. Entropy says things wind down and get more disorderly over time. Physical things do. Yes, physical things get more orderly. But non-physical things that are real non-physical things, which exist on non-physical dimensions, some of those things exhibit this property of extropy, or are governed by this property of extropy. Things that contribute toward persistence, toward continued existence, continued health, continued well-being, whatever contributes towards that, that's what follows along with this principle of extropy. Those are one and the same. Again, I go off on these tangents. We got some votes coming in already. You should let your voice be heard and influence the future direction of things. Because this is a creating universe and is constantly refreshing itself on the third dimension. The third dimension is what things are made of, matter, physical matter. That's just a temporary stage that is constantly recycled and refreshed, which exhibits this property of entropy in order to give way, to give a place for things that are of higher non-physical, quote-unquote higher. I say higher, but not everyone's comfortable with that word. Higher dimensional, greater dimensionals, maybe more accurate. Phenomena of greater dimensionality, which don't fit into the physical world, but which use the physical world as a here and now space to explore things that need to be resolved. If you didn't realize it, I just dropped the answer to many questions. I see Nick. Oh, by the way, Nick has weighed in on the topic. Oh, actually, Dragon Sail also has weighed in. Dragon Sail, so that's 3. Dragon Sail says, talk about the universe, brother. The puppets dig it. All right, that's good. So that's 3 votes. Nick also cast a vote that says, hey, man, this is a 505 beatmaking stream. Stop talking about this stuff. With a smirk. So I'll take that as a sarcasm that you don't feel that way. So it sounds like so far I'm getting a lot of either yes, do it, or I could take it or leave it. You are feel free to run your stream how you see fit. Okay. So far, those are the votes. 4 votes are influencing me. But friends, we do have a good beat here today. This has been a good 505 beat making stream. You did get all the technical details, even though I gave you a lot more in terms of all this other, philosophical stuff. Plus, also spend a little bit of time talking about my recent rap song that I released, Role-Playing Catharsis. If you've not listened to Role-Playing Catharsis, go check it out. It's been getting a lot of positive feedback. in every domain that I've made it available. A lot of positive attention. Role-playing catharsis. Thank you for being here today. Here at the conclusion of today's 505 Beatmaking stream, I am going to lead us in a celebrating moment. Grab your drink if you would like to join us in celebrating our togetherfulness. 1, oh my goodness, it's coming so fast, I can't even believe it. 2, whoa, it's a very fast one indeed. 3, clink. Cheers, my friends. Oh boy, that's good. Oh, that's so fulfilling. I want to have more. Please like this video. Please subscribe. Please share this video. I hope to see you in the next live stream. We have such a delicious menu available for you here at Reconsider It Central. Today, we did the upper right, the 505 Beatmaking stream, which is talking a lot about the technical details about how I'm building the loopers. And so far I'm hearing the vote that it's okay to go off in other tangents and talk about other things. I'm gonna play it by ear and see how that goes. Because in the bottom right, we've also got tinkering in the studio, where I build up a beat. Yeah, I do build up the beat, but I don't talk about the loopers. I just build the beat. And I bring in the synthesizer, and I go off on tangents, and I talk about whatever with you. That's tinkering in the studio. We do those sometimes. In the lower left, we got unspoken, which is a lot like the same thing. Just build up the beat, do the synth, but no talking at all. At no point from the first second of the stream all the way to the end, no talking whatsoever. Just building a beat and bringing in the synth. That's unspoken in the lower left. The upper left, we got loops and chill. That's like I'm doing a performance. It looks like some written, rehearsed songs that you might see me perform at a venue. But the answer is no, all of it's being improvised. The beat's being improvised, the arrangement from start to finish with different movements and thing, all being improvised. That's loops and chill. Whatever kind of stream it is that you join us for next time, I am looking forward to seeing you then. And until then, please have a very good rest of your day today. Please let the rest of your day today bring you all manner of resolution and healing. Please let the rest of your day today meet all of your needs, satisfy all of your inclinations. Please let the rest of your day today open the door for sustained sustenance. Please let your sustenance be sustained. all beginning today. Let doors open for you today. Please let all manner of healing come to you today. Even the types of healing that you thought were unbelievably out of your reach. The types of healing that felt impossible. There's no way that this full injury or wound or aging could possibly be unearthed and reverse the aging. This can't happen. Let that healing come to you today. And I will see you in the next Reconsider It live stream.